Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host, as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I am joined by Justin C. Key for a game. Justin is a speculative fiction and horror writer whose latest novel, The Hospital at the End of the World, is out in stores now. It is a murder mystery set in the last human-run hospital in a world overtaken by AI and an all-seeing algorithm, all centered around the question of when a corporate algorithm promises efficiency and safety and perfection, what happens when the algorithm is wrong? You can find more information about the novel at justinckey.com, or you can check the show notes for more information. We sat down to play Tether, a journal-writing horror game set across two eras, in which two people, decades apart, face off against the same curse with only their shared journal entries connecting them. It was a wonderful storytelling experience that really let us sit down and chat about what horror means to Justin, what scares him, what excites him, and just what really gets under our skin. You can check out Tether at adambuffoni.itch.io or check the show notes for more information. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so very excited. I have been sitting down waiting for this recording all day. I'm sitting down with Justin C. Key. Justin, thanks so much for coming on Party of One.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is very new for me and very exciting. The game-wise and just the format. So I'm really excited to be here.
This is one of my favorite circumstances to record in, is getting to show someone a little bit of where the magic is, getting to introduce somebody and walk them kind of through the game that we're about to play and share this experience. I think this is going to be really, really wonderful, especially with the game that we've picked and, all of the things that we've kind of been chatting about. And speaking of which, before we get to the game that we're playing and all the things that we're going to talk about, why don't you take a moment, let our lovely listeners at home know about what you've got going on that you might want them to know about.
Okay, so I am Justin C. Key, and I've been recently telling people I am a horror author who went to med school and then wrote a science fiction medical thriller. So The Hospital at the End of the World is my first novel, and it came out a few months ago from HarperCollins. Briefly, it's AI versus medicine. So it's about the last holdout hospital that's the only place where you can get human-led medicine. It's attached to a medical school, and it follows the main character who must learn medicine from this medical school. There's a lot more to it, but that's kind of the background. And I started it before this whole AI boom. So it's been kind of cool and a little frightening to see AI go in a direction as was finishing up this story. But my first love is horror. That's what I've been publishing many short stories before, and I have a few short stories out this year, and a couple of them are horror. So
as soon as I heard the pitch of the book, I screamed, and I could hear in the pitch that feeling of, oh no, I accidentally wrote something extremely timely. Yeah. Which is a surreal feeling if ever there was one. And, I know you and I talked a lot about horror, and, it bleeds into the game that we're playing, which is Tether, which is a journaling game about two people in different time periods, both facing something that has come to their town. And so I want to talk to you and say, what are the horror things? What's been on your mind lately? What are the things that are always kind of turning in your brain? What are my favorite question to ask a horror person? What scares you?
So recently, what has scared me has been Obsession from
Sure, of course.
Yeah, so I went to see that in the theater. I don't get too much opportunities to go see movies in the theaters because my wife can't tolerate horror, and my kids are too young for it. But I got the opportunity to go, and not since Hereditary have I been in a place in a theater where I'm kind of oh my gosh, my body wants me to leave. But the difference is I would see Obsession again in the theater, whereas I don't think I would see Hereditary again, though I think they're both great movies. But really enjoyed Obsession. Something from a horror writer. I've always loved small town stories.
Sure, totally.
It's kind of rooted in my love for Stephen King, and one of the reasons that I gravitated towards this game. Recently, interest has been body horror.
Sure, totally.
body horror story. I remember, I think it was with Demi Moore. I think it was called The Substance.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, that I saw recently. And then just a few stories that I've read with body horror. I think that it can be done in a really great way that blends, like, there's still this gross out factor, but then there can be beauty to it. And there's a lot of room for a lot of metaphor there as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the things that I really gravitate towards in horror. The things that I feel like I've always gravitated towards is, and I think The Substance kind of hits it, when a deeply unsettling thing is presented as exceedingly normal.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, like, makes my skin crawl. I was just reminded of one of my favorite horror movies of all time, because it's got like a special DVD release coming. Also, speaking of Stephen King, is 1408, especially the 1408 movie, haunts me to this day. Just like pure, like a great horror experience. And it does capture that feeling of, like, everybody except for the main character is like, when they confront this thing, every single person except the main character just goes, yeah, that's an evil fucking hotel room. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just bad. And it's the being the one person that is looking at something and saying, hey, we all see how fucked this is, and having the experience of everybody else going, no, this is how it's always been, and I see nothing wrong with it, really, like, makes my stomach turn a little bit.
One of the things, it reminds me kind of in the same light, there's incidents around the house, I believe by Josh Mellerman, that I read recently, and throughout there's this aspect of realizing how much the main character has been living with, how much of the horror, it's almost like a kind of a retrospective horror. Like, we are learning we're learning through reading, like, the aspects of this monster, but it's presented like, oh, the main character has been dealing with this for like the last 5 years.
Sure.
So it's done in kind of I think a very interesting way, because you simultaneously are being introduced to this aspect, but also simultaneously getting the weight of, like, oh, she's been dealing with this for a long time. One other aspect I'd say is when there's just a small rule that's broken, but then it, like, just the implications just throws everything off.
Sure.
I remember Stephen King's The Shining, one of the most, like, unsettling scenes in reading it was when he gassed out this wasp nest and he puts it out in the freezing outside, like in the freezing cold. And then the next morning it's all buzzing. They all come back to life. This is a small thing, but it's like, going from dead to back animated is just like all bets are off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's there's there's the moment where, speaking of horror movies I saw in the theater recently, there's like a similar ish moment where, you like, a thing that I really, really like click with in horror is, the moment where that the horror is about to hit, right? Like that dramatic irony is such a killer thing. We watched The Guest. Have you seen The Guest, the Adam Wingard? Oh, it's really, really great. It's like it's very much a kind of John Carpenter-y, like slasher movie thing. It's about a soldier that shows up at a family's house, and they quickly kind of realize that he's not the guy that he says he was, and also that he's like killing people on the side, and there's this great sense of, like, they introduce the idea that like, slight spoilers, but it's the crux of the movie is that, like, if anybody finds out his background, he is compelled to have to, like, kill them to silence it. And, like, they play it so well of, like, you watch a character casually learn it, and you see, like, they show his face, and you see it, and you have that moment of, like, no, why did you do that? It's a little bit of the don't go in that door thing of oh, you just signed your death warrant, and that's the saddest thing in the world. It's a feast for me.
Yeah, that's one thing about, I think, the aspect of, like, zombie movies or vampire movies. It's like, as soon as there's an injury, even a little bit,
Oh yeah,
like that character.
it's once you see the cut on somebody's hand, you're just like, that's not a cut. Like I know it's not a cut. It's not a, and like living. Like the best horror I find are the ones that like really force you to just kind of like sit with that and squirm of like and I know that it goes back to Hitchcock with The Bomb Under the Table, right? It's the and I know that it's there. It'll sit and squirm for a while. All of this kind of connects back to the game that we're playing. All of this kind of bleeds back into, there's a lot of all of that in Tether. Tether, the story of which is we are in a small town. We're in the small town of Providence, and we are two people in different time periods. We can decide how long apart those time periods are. We can decide what the town looks like in each of those. They can be, and we are both considering the same curse. There is something present in the town that we both are going to have to deal with, and we are going to be sharing information back and forth in like journal entries that each are going to find kind of across time. And we are going to kind of use that to confront, maybe stop, maybe postpone, but certainly confront whatever is lingering in the place that we live. What's the thing that you are most excited about as we are sitting down to play?
Yeah, so I'm excited. Well, I'm excited about the unknown, just in terms of like thinking about what prompts may come up. And I imagine that they're going to be, it's going to be like a building up, like where they get like, more and more into the horror, and inevitably I imagine in the beginning it's like, oh, how can I fuse horror into this? I'm really excited about like the different time periods, jumping between time periods. Stephen King's one of my favorite authors, and it just reminds me a lot of it, just in terms of like those, I think it's 27 years that, Pennywise, it comes every 27 years, Jeepers Creepers, cicadas, so really excited about that aspect. And then just seeing like where it goes with somebody else's mind.
Yeah. That's the thing that I love the most in sitting down to play a game is you can think something through and be like, I think this is where I want it to go. I think this is the beat that I want to drop. And then, you'll say something to me and I'll just go, I'm throwing everything that I had in my brain in the trash because it's so like you've just given me such a gift that like we're running in this direction, and not knowing where we're going to end up is, I think, the greatest is the thing that I keep coming back to year after year after game after game. So with that said, we need to figure out a little bit of like what we are up against, where we are. We're going to need to do a little bit of world building. Let me ask you this, like the first few questions, where's the town? What are the people who live here? Like what kind of a town, what kind of a setting comes to mind? What's the place that's in your head, that pops into your head as we sit down to kind of visualize where our characters are located?
Yeah, I've always had this kind of default small town, and it's where I grew up in D.C., but my family's from Southern Virginia, this small town called Martinsville. And I think maybe population around like 13,000. And I think it's interesting from different time periods is that in the early 90s, like when I was growing up, it was an industry town, and they had they had all these furniture factories, and it was lively, had a square, it's all these activities. And now, a lot of those factories are shut down. So I see it as like an aging town with like less to do. And so it's interesting. It's very different from those like two different time periods. Great greenery, great hills, kids playing outside, people know each other. Like you sit on the
for sure,
waving people by. So that's kind of what's been in my head. Seasons.
I like that. I really like that. And it's really interesting because, the place that I grew up in South Jersey, a town called Mount Holly, kind of had the exact opposite experience. When I was growing up, like it was kind of it was like the way it was always described by my friends and by the locals was like the vibe was a little bit dying mine town.
Mm-hmm.
Of like it was like a small suburb. A lot of the industry had already left, and a lot of the places had already, stores were starting to close, and there just wasn't a lot. And the really strange thing about the town where I grew up is going there now. Like, the fascinating thing is that the town reinvented itself after I moved out in college, after I got married, after Jen and I moved in together. Like, in particular, largely because of changing alcohol laws in New Jersey. And so like breweries became like a very prominent thing. And there were just a lot of open storefronts and warehouses and things. And so the town has become like this sort of hotbed of like craft brewing, and like relatedly, like a lot of, culture and youth and things have like flooded into that town. So that juxtaposition in either direction really, really hits for me and really like speaks to me. So I'm very I think we're very in the same headspace. It is very easy for me to envision this place that the cross between, hopping and dying is very prevalent in my head.
Yeah. And it's so interesting how you never know what's going to be the thing that's going to like pick a place back up.
Yeah.
As you were talking, I wouldn't have guessed that it would have been like breweries.
That's exactly it, right? Like I think that's kind of where my head is at. How far do we think this is from the nearest city? Is it relatively secluded? Is there a skyline on the horizon? Like, what are you envisioning?
I think like an hour and a half,
Sure.
Maybe like 50 miles, but like winding roads.
Sure. A tough 50 miles.
Yeah.
So this is the big question. We've got kind of this picture of a town in decline and a town on the rise, right? Like, it used to be hopping. Now it's kind of on decline. What time periods are we envisioning? Is one of those modern day? Are these two different historical time periods? And then, the game recommends that we play one generation apart. I am perfectly happy to scrap that rule and or lean into it. But like, how far apart are you envisioning these two time periods, and what time periods are really exciting to you?
Yeah. I do think like maybe like the 90s versus present day, so around like 30 years.
I think. Yeah. There's something really the thing. Yeah, I was really like thinking one of them being modern is very compelling, but like doing the other one specifically in the 90s is really captivating just by virtue of, getting to see both sides of the technology boom of like, mm-hmm. I think there's such an interesting energy to the 90s as like on the cusp of everything changing in dramatic fashion is very, very captivating to me.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. We need to name a landmark in town that has remained through both time periods. Can I throw you a real life detail from my childhood hometown?
Yes.
There is in Mount Holly a cobbler shop that amidst all of the industries dying in my hometown, amidst all of the changes, inexplicably the Mount Holly cobbler shop like was the storefront that survived and weathered every single change in the 40 some years of my life. I would love to pitch that there is like one small like shop, and it's not necessarily like a gathering place or something, but there is like a store or location or something that is always there and has always been there.
Yeah. So, are you pitching the cobbler shop?
Not necessarily. Is there another kind of shop? Like what pops into your head as like the store that's been there for as long as any one of us can remember?
It's a little bit cliche, creepy, but what popped into my head was like a doll shop or like a doll making like
doll shop is really good. I love it a lot. I think that, and even to throw it a notch further, if I'm thinking specifically like in the 90s, like we're kind of at the cusp of, if we're in the 90s, we're at the cusp of what I think is really fun about a doll repair shop is we're in the cusp of like a cultural change around toy culture. You have tapped into one of my special interests, which is toy culture through the decades. We're in the cusp of a real change, and so the idea of like a toy shop that is, or like a doll shop that is dolls and also, you know, all of the other kind of 90s ephemera, and then, you know, in flashing to a 2020s where it's a lot of the same ephemera, but it's older and dustier and junkier.
Yeah.
Really, really good. There's a lot of fun playground for us if we're visualizing like 90s toy or 80s toy or like that kind of energy. There's a lot of fun toys for us to pick up, which I'm excited about. We talked a little bit about like industry. And about like the closing of some of the factories, the shifting away of some of the industry. What is one other thing that has changed in the 30-ish years from the 90s to today? And what is one thing that has stayed the same? Do you have thoughts on which one of those do you have a thought on? And I'll fill in the other one.
One thing that has stayed the same, maybe an ongoing, like a culture around like the high school,
Sure.
where, you know, everybody goes to the high school games still, and everybody goes to the same high school.
It's a high school sports town. Oh no! You've really you have shot me in the chest today, and I'm so excited. I have a lot of affection for high school sports towns. I think a thing that has changed is here's what I'm going to hit you with. For a change, I'm gonna take that ball and I'm gonna run with it. I think and this is Jeff thinking about like sports in my immediate vicinity. I think the biggest thing that has changed is the specific sports that are the touchstone, right? Like it's still all of the high school sports games. It's still all of the high school everything. But I think, you know, the most direct example is like high school women's sports is a much bigger thing now than it was in the 90s. And I think this town that we're in, like, that is a very true fact, right? Like the women's baseball team is a big deal. The women's football team is a big deal. And like, it's just the way that when like, you know, there are sports that are played now that are much bigger. And like, I think the change in those and seeing specifically like the visual of, you know, the old football field that is maybe now like a little rustier and a little more in disrepair, and you know, the baseball diamond and the soccer field that are like that were fields and forest in the 90s that are now like very well upkept things, I think is a very compelling change to see.
I like that. And then, you know, we can see if it comes up, but is there any like, you know, whenever there's change, is there anybody who's happy with it, who's upset with it?
Yeah, for sure.
Who's upset about it?
I definitely think there is. I'm putting it on the table. Like there is for sure a like a high school football booster club of you know, not necessarily the player, maybe some of the players from the 90s, right? Like maybe some of them have been kind of like co-opted into it or joined into it, but it's definitely a lot of like, you know, I played football in the 70s when it was a game, and like there's a lot of like the old heads that have held on to the idea that like whatever the name of our town is, like that town's football is a big deal.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you got a town name in mind? I'm trying to think if one pops into my head.
It's funny. When I used it, the first one that popped in my head was Derry, and I was like, no, that's not your town. Let's see.
What about Gary's Hollow? What if we tack something onto that?
I like that.
Because then also, yeah, then we kind of get like Gary's Hollow football used to mean something. Like that used to be the heart of this damn town, and now we're out here we're playing 6 different games, and and there's always somebody when they start going on these rants that's like, yeah, but we also want baseball to win. We're getting a lot of attention for baseball. Well, obviously we care about baseball, but like Gary's Hollow used to be a football town.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm really shaken by how much of my actual how much shared experience we've got. I think is really going to cause this to go to 11 immediately. What time period do you want to play in?
Me. Okay. Cool. I'll be in the 90s.
Okay, great. I'm in the modern day. How old are you? Are you a child, a teenager, an adult? Like where, like, give me an age range for like who you are when you are confronting this.
I'm wavering between like being, at the height of it, like high school student, like star, versus having just gone through the glory days and maybe like, like maybe 2021 and was like the star, but then it's kind of, figuring out what life is like after that. So I'm gonna go with that one, I think.
Okay, great. I'm thinking, then I think I'm trying to think if I want to kind of match that energy. I think maximum drama is for me to take the exact opposite.
Okay.
Is to get a series of like I think the hook here is a series of journal entries between somebody that is peak in the swing of high school life and somebody that is on the other side of it, having taken their first steps into adulthood, as we both kind of confront this thing, but also with very, very different perspectives about the stakes of the world, I think is where a lot of the good drama will come from. Where are you spending your time? Are you a student? Do you have a job? Like, what does your character's life look like?
Okay, so I'm thinking star athlete that was diagnosed with like a heart condition, and was hoping on that to be able to get out of this town, but now still has, I think, ambition. So maybe taking classes while working, having kind of to support, let's say both parents are there, but still needing to work. And they were like looking to him. Kind of, So working, let's say, I mean, he could work at that local shop, but working somewhere locally, like where it's not, he doesn't want it to be the career, while trying to take classes to apply for like college. But it's been a couple of years, it's been like a bumpy road, and he's maybe losing a little bit of motivation or hope.
I like that. I really, really enjoy that. I think I don't have an injury, but I think I do. I think I'm on the road to one, I think I want to put it. I'm thinking about the sports that have been on my brain lately, and Philly made it deep enough into the Flyers made it deep enough into the playoffs that my family got consumed by hockey fever. So I think I'm a teen hockey star that is like pushing himself too hard, like heading towards either burnout or an injury or something. And I think living situation is from in kind. I think I think there's a parallel in my head between this character, between where he is now, between like the physical and the emotional, which is to say like my living situation is fine for now. Okay. I think there is this sense that like, I think my dad is taking on extra shifts at work and is pushing himself too hard professionally. I am pushing myself because I need to get a scholarship and I need to get that key out, that ticket out of town. Like, I think there is this overwhelming sense that something is looming. And final questions. What is something that is important to you and what do you fear?
Important to me is taking care of my family, and something that I fear is being stuck in Gary's Hollow.
I really like that. That's great. Um, God, I think I have the exact same fear because I think that's going to. I think making that call now is really going to allow us to really uh, lean in the journal entry portion.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that is important to me is I don't want to go with winning. I don't want to go with being the best. I don't want to go with looking cool. I think it is. I'm gonna write down because I think I'm writing down the thing that is important to me is doing something no one has ever done.
Mm.
I don't like I that's an idealistic dream, and I don't know what that means to me like in my life, but I think my dream is to be the first at something, is to be in the history books. And my fear is that, by extension, my fear of being stuck in Gary's Hollow is that I am going to end up the same as all of the other people that are in this town.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
My character's name is my character's name is Tyler Lazenby.
Okay. I am going to be J&J, Jerry Johnson.
Jerry Johnson, Tyler Lazenby. Fantastic, really great. Now that we've met our characters, now that we've met Gary's Hollow, it's time to find out what is haunting us. There is something. A game of Tether takes place in a small town. We have worked together to create it, that is haunted by a dark entity the text will refer to as the Terror. In each playthrough, that terror will be unique, but there are some things that are always true. It only appears periodically, approximately once every generation. It wants to cause panic in town. It wants people to die. It has a weakness, and everything about the terror is going to be decided by us, not through discussion, but through the prompts that we're drawing, and we're going to discover what that terror is together.
Okay.
We have the deck of Providence in front of us, or rather, we're going to create it as we go.
Yeah.
What that is a series of prompts arranged in a specific order. We have a deck of cards. We've removed all the faces, and we're going to draw from the top. And as we draw, that the terror is going to come closer and closer until we have our final confrontation. How that's going to look. We're going to start out by drawing 3 cards from the hearts pile. So we're going to draw 3 random hearts cards. Would you like to answer the first prompt, or do you want me to take care of that?
Let's see. I can go with the first one.
All right. Well, I've put all of our heart cards into a pile, so go ahead and draw the first one. I will read you a prompt and then answer it and kind of give me your thoughts.
Okay, cool. So I just click this?
Yep, click it, flip it, and then that'll give us the card.
Okay, cool.
The card is the 4 of hearts. 4 of hearts. Oh, this is a good first draw. You come face to face with one of your fears, but not in a potentially deadly situation. What about the scene feels unnatural? Okay.
Come face to face with one of my fears, but not in a potentially deadly situation. Okay, so one of my fears, or the fear that I identified, was that I'm not going to get out of town. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to take classes. I've been trying to do well. And maybe I show up to one of my classes, but I'm not on the roster anymore.
Oh.
So, and I needed those credits to finish in the time that I wanted to. So, this is pushing me back significantly. But I swear that I signed up for this. I've been sitting for this class, and yeah, I maybe make it. Okay, we wouldn't have online back then. I was trying to think. So I think in the beginning, so it's not too unnatural, right? Because I think it would be too much if he's been taking this class for a while, and then like the professor is like, "No, I don't know you anymore." It's like just as subtle, like he shows up for the first day, but he had checked the night before. He saw that he was on the roster or what have you, and the person is like, "You're not in this. It's too late." So it almost feels like, someone's sabotaging me or what's
Yeah.
going on. So it's just like, all right, did I mess up? But I know that I did right. I've been wanting this for so long. So it plays into the fear of like, oh,
Yeah.
am I going to get out of here?
I think if I can throw in the thing to ratchet it even further, I think I love because I've got this visual in my head immediately going back to the 90s of like there being, I think to your point of like and not being online means that likely there's a letter on a desk at your house that says like you're in the class, here's the schedule, and it's got that item on it, and then you get there and it's not. That's great. That's got some good energy to it.
Yeah. And then I go, even going back or maybe while I'm there, I look and like you said, it was there, but now it's not.
That's really good.
And the teacher even thinks that I'm trying to like pull a fast one. It's like, look, you just got to wait.
Really good first beat. Okay, so then 30 years later, I flip the. Do you want to read me the question for the Two of Hearts?
Yes. A friend or relative is acting strange. Who is it, and why does it make you concerned?
A friend or relative is acting strange. This is my childhood best friend, Clarissa.
Mm-hmm.
Clarissa, I think the thing that we bonded over was being athletes. We were sports kids. We played sports together. We played stickball in the street, right? We were. I think that there has been a friend. There's been a friendship of competition between us, right? When lockdown happened, like we both got way too into Fortnite, and we were just it was she and it was me. Like we were consistently in the last like 10 just chasing each other down with a kind of vengeance that would be alarming if we weren't just so beamingly happy through the whole time, and that the second that one of us killed the other in the game, there wasn't just like a cheering and a text message of like, hell yeah, dude, that ruled. And I think what has happened is there is a competition at school, like a school spirit day competition, and like she and I are on different teams every year because hold on, Jeff has to remember. L is in the first half of the alphabet, so her last name is going to be Zdarsky. Mm-hmm. So she's in the second half of the alphabet. I'm in the first half of the alphabet. And so we're on different halves of we're on different teams for the school year. And consistently, like we were on opposite teams and like competing against each other. And I think we were both taken a little bit of the horror that you've put in, or the unnatural element that you've put in. I think that the way that it has manifested for me is, what do I think the competition is? It is the tug of war. Like there's always a tug of war. There's always a tug of war in the Spirit Day competitions. And I think like I'm there immediately and I see her and I shout to her and she looks and she's like, what are you talking about? And there's a moment between the two of us of like, what do you mean? Like you're fronting the tug of war. And she's like, I've never done the tug of war. Like, why would I do that? And like, just the sort of, there's the, I'm certain that we've talked about this, but I think the bigger thing there is that when presented with the idea of a competition, she shrugs it off like there's nothing.
When usually she'd be,
like
it would fire her up.
Yeah, there's like that sense of we're competing against each other. Like that bond of our friendship is absent now, and there's a clear sense of like it's not. It could happen, right? Like, I'm not going to say that she has to compete in a thing in front of a bunch of fellow students, especially because obviously she's going to lose because I'm great. Or maybe she'll win. She's won the last 2 years. So like, who the hell am I to say that I'm going to win? But I think there's definitely a sense of like something is wrong here. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I don't even know if I think it's horrifying yet, or if I just think it's, my friend has kind of let me down.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, do you have feelings of like, what's wrong with my friend or what's wrong with me? What's wrong with our relationship?
I think it is. I mean, I think there's a little bit of here's what rips. It starts out at the former and ends at the latter because this is a character question. This is a character question for you. Where do you stash your journal after you've been writing in it?
Outside of the house, because I don't want.
Sure.
I have to go somewhere to write it. Maybe I stash it at the store. So I haven't decided if I like work at the store, but I'm thinking maybe I do. But I don't want people around in the house to see it. Maybe I have like I don't want to put that burden on like
sure.
etc. So outside, maybe in that store where I work or that store. That
feels really good. So then at first I'm just like, I think there is a sense of there's a sense of disappointment, right? My friend has let me down. I was really looking forward to this. This was going to be a big moment. Like this was, we were really fired up about this. And I've got that sort of aggression, I guess you could call it. I've got that restlessness of, I thought I was going to have the catharsis of this thing that we were going to have happen, and it's not happening now.
Yeah.
And I think what that translates to for Tyler is fucking around at the store, is like mischief at the store specifically. And I think like as I'm kind of loitering around the toy shop and kind of messing around, I find the journal, right? And like I find it and I'm kind of like, oh, somebody's journal. I'm going to read it. And I read that entry and like we see Tyler like curl up in a corner and start reading and just feel this sense of familiarity as I ask you the next question, which is our final hearts question, the final pre-ace hearts question. Your question is, you get a sense that someone is following you. Why do you worry? It might be more than a sense. Are you afraid?
Okay, I get the sense that somebody is following me. Let's see, where are they following me? I think now my mind is going to if there should be time between these like journal entries, because there probably should be, because I was thinking like, am I being followed on the way back from class? But then that doesn't give me time to have written the journal entry. And so I'm thinking of this in real time. Let's see. So
yeah, wait. How long after that do you think that this journal entry is? It the next day? Is it a couple days later? Is it a couple weeks later? Like what pops into your head?
I think maybe I'm delayed, let's say with this class, and I have to maybe decide like what class it is. Okay, maybe a few days. Maybe I work to kind of get another class on the schedule. And then as I'm coming, and it has to be like a late night class. That's the only thing that works. And I feel that I'm being followed as I'm coming home from the class. Let's see. Why do you worry? It might be more than a sense. Are you afraid? I had the sense during, let's say this is like this in-person class, everything's in person back then. I had the sense that maybe the professor, the professor during it was watching what felt like they didn't like me. Let's say he didn't like me, or was maybe had like a certain eye on me during, like, whenever I would, look away, I kind of felt that they were looking at me. And then, they seemed to like watch me as I left. Right. So then I get this sense as I'm going home and I'm walking, it's not too far away, that they're there. And maybe there's like a distinctive, like, smell that they may have. It may not actually be a pleasant smell. It could be like a little bit of, they have like a musk, and I almost like feel like I can smell that on the wind.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. So I'm afraid, because I think I'm pretty convinced that this person was following me. And I don't know what the fuck it means, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You just kind of think about it. It's like, what does it mean? Is this supposed to be my teacher? Why are they following me? But I can't, I get home without, it's that since I get home and I just kind of like turn the lights, lock the door. Maybe my younger like brother or sister that they look up to me. They've been waiting for me up, they can't go to bed without me. So I'm, kind of immediately like switch gears, as opposed to like investigate it more.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. I have realized, so we're gonna futz with the rules a little bit. I've realized that we went slightly out of order, but we'll correct that in the next. We'll correct that in the next cycle. And maybe we'll go back and forth and we'll alternate, because I think that would be really fun. I think I'm reading the rules and realizing I was supposed to draw the first card and you're supposed to draw the second, but we'll go back and forth on each suit. I think that'll work really well. Which means I'm going to flip the Ace of Hearts. Would you like to read to me the Ace of Heart question?
Okay, yes, that's at the top, right? All right. You see the terror firsthand or witness an event that you know was caused by it. Why do you learn about the terror? Why are you more afraid after what you see?
I think the thing that I see, I'm at the toy shop way too late. I've read through these journal entries and I look up and Old Man Calhoun is like asking me to is like, hey kid, we're packing up, you gotta go. And I asked to buy the journal. And he's like, that's not, you can give me $5 for it, but it's not, and I kind of toss him a $5 and I'm like walking home with it. And I see someone sitting on a bench. I see someone sitting on a bench. It is the girls' field hockey coach. Younger, probably like in her 30s, mid 30s, and she's like sitting on a bench, waiting for the bus, and somebody comes up next to her and like sits next to her, and they are wearing a tweed jacket, but like a musty tweed jacket. It's a couple moth holes in it. Looks like it could be patch. Like it's the kind of thing where like, you could maybe patch up the elbows and make it look presentable, but they haven't done that. One of the lapels is kind of split open. But they've got, what they have is like a pristine black leather briefcase, and they sit down, and they sit down next to her, and they open the briefcase, and there is a moment where like she screams. And she jumps back, and I think at the scream I start running, and I guess this is a good time for a safety check-in, obviously. In terms of content, how do we feel about like how you mentioned cicadas earlier? How do we feel about like cicadas, bugs, etc.?
All for it. All
Great.
for it. Yeah.
Because like bugs crawl out of the briefcase. I haven't decided what bug feels weirdest to you. Is it a flying bug? Is it a crawling bug? Like what's the thing that kind of swarms out of the briefcase when they open it?
Yeah. Crawling.
Crawling.
Yeah, crawling.
Crawling feels real. My brain immediately went to flying, but crawling does have an energy to it. It's almost it's almost a worm quality, or like a silkworm kind of vibe of like little tiny like things that sort of ooze out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
And like and crawl kind of kind of crawl and like crawl quickly. I think it is a quick crawl. And she's screaming and I'm running, and they crawl and she starts to get pulled into the briefcase by the worms, and they start like tugging on her cheeks and like pulling on the skin in a way that is like stretching the skin and pulling the skin and pulling her towards into the briefcase. And she is getting pulled into it. And as I run and approach, like the briefcase slams shut, and she is like almost pulled inside, right? And it's a little bit of like, her skin is stretching in ways that it shouldn't. And then the briefcase slams shut and all of the bugs are gone, and she is sitting. And I'm like, and in an instant, like the briefcase man is gone. Mm-hmm. And she is sitting there, and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, what are you talking about? She has no memory of it. And then her bus pulls up as we're chatting, and I'm like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. And she's like, why? Where am I headed? And she doesn't remember the bus. And there's this clear sense of like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then she just like gets up and like kind of starts like wandering off. And there's this clear sense of like something was taken from her. And it seems like whatever this thing was, tried to take much more, tried to rip more out of her, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, or otherwise. And who knows what it would have looked like had she been pulled into the briefcase.
And then the person that was almost pulled into the briefcase, remind me, was it the field hockey coach?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Field hockey coach. Was that, so girls field hockey coach, so not this person's coach, maybe the friend's coach?
I think this is Clarissa's. This is like Clarissa's mentor figure, right? Like there's a very close relationship here.
Yeah. Cool. And then my mind immediately goes to, okay, like how does this connect? Because I imagine that my prompt is going to be the same, right? Do I have like a parallel scene of what happens 30 years before?
So,
or no?
No, I think. Okay, hold on. Let me flip and confirm. I think no. But I think how we have altered the rules means that you're going to get the prompt of diamonds, which means that like you're going to increasingly see it over the next series of prompts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Now that we're into diamonds, the ace is always the last card of the suit that we flip. So now that we're into diamonds, all of our journal entries are about, hey, this thing is here, and now we are examining the thing.
Okay.
Which is also why I'm happy that we've kind of like flipped the rules a little bit, because it means that you get to answer the next ace, which is like you get to have that same level of like big interaction.
Okay. Cool.
Because we're flipping it, I'm gonna flip the first card. We'll go second, and then that way you flip the ace at the end of the turn. So let me flip this. Read me the 3 of diamonds.
All right, 3 of diamonds. Here we go. A dispute in town gets out of hand. Do you see what happened? What are the rumors surrounding the event?
The homecoming game got canceled.
Okay.
Because the referees didn't show up. And like that caused drama. Football's not necessarily what it was, but like that, they had to like fully, it's not just that we had to cancel the game. We had to forfeit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to supply the referees. Like the referees, like we have to supply the referees. It's part of the hometown rules. Like, so we had to forfeit the game. And, you know, the rumors are that there was that like either that somebody fucked up an email somewhere along the way, or that like, you know, it was a communication failure, or any number of other like rumors are flying fast. Heads are rolling, right? Like people are looking blood, like people are looking for blood.
And this was an outside team, right? Like a team from maybe like another town.
Yeah.
So this could have also been like something that would have been big for the town, you know,
Oh, sure. Especially after everything that we've been through, like Homecoming. You're absolutely right. Homecoming's a big deal, right? Like a team coming in from this is like an out of state team, a team coming in from out of state. Like there's businesses, like there are pop-ups, food trucks come, like this is a big moment business wise for the town, and it's a disaster. And, I shouldn't go investigate it. I shouldn't look into it. I should just accept it. But something tells me that I have to. And, you know, like one of the referees is a friend of my dad's. I know the Legion Hall where they hang out. Because it's the same Legion Hall my dad is a member of.
Yeah.
And I go and I ask him, I'm like, hey man, what the fuck? And he's like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I've never reffed a football game in my life. And I think like upon hearing that, like it's beyond just I think there's a moment of the escalation here is, you know, everybody agrees that the disaster is that the refs didn't show up. But like, you know, when the more I push on it in this bar, nobody remembers that this person like nobody remembers who the referee was, in part because no one remembers that my dad's friend Ralph was was the referee. And it's like, how can everyone in town forget this? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, everybody's mad, but nobody can tell you like specifically.
Yes.
You know? Like fuck this guy, and then it's like fuck who.
Right. It's just like, yeah, the referee. But it's like, who was the referee? And like, they can't get an answer. And there's just this unplaced anger. But also the people that the referees don't actually remember that they were supposed to ref. They're just kind of hanging around.
Yeah. I like that. And I don't know if this may not. Yeah, I mean, this isn't connected to a prompt, but
hit me.
Fuck it, it's our game. Part of it that make the character's fears existential is almost like this terror may be what's the word I'm looking for? Making what it does is it strips away some of the uniqueness to people. It makes them almost like it goes through and makes these towns, maybe takes away like some of the ambitions that people have.
We're exactly on the same page, and I think our characters are both having this dawning realization at the same time, which I think is great. Your next question, your next prompt. A conflict or discovery that was brought into play earlier is escalated or proves to be more dangerous than you initially thought.
So too.
I think it's perfect timing because it does feel like it connects right back to what you were just saying.
Yeah. I guess so. This is what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think about whether this is a conflict that I haven't talked about before, or one that I have like touched on, I think, before. But let's see. Okay, so my brain's going a couple places. I'm thinking about, there's one route that and maybe you can help me decide on it. There's one route where I'm thinking, okay, expanding or making bigger the issue with like this school or this classes. Maybe like this was a new initiative that the town is trying to do, and going off of its. This is the '90s. The town is doing well. Maybe it's trying to like become like a college town, and this is like part of its beginning or initiative is like to have these like classes, and the Jerry sees this as a way for him to kind of take advantage of this, but then like the what he thought was like one issue with his class being shut down, like they're all being sabotaged or what have you, and they're all being canceled, and kind of people that thought that they were going this route are they're going and doing some like one by one. They seem like they're doing something else with no memory of this existing. I think that that's one aspect versus I'm thinking of do I up the ante on the main character's like heart defect. If in the before he thought it was going to end his football career, but now maybe it's even more dangerous. Maybe it's something like where he's kind of like a ticking time bomb. So those are kind of some of the aspects. I'm wondering if okay, so here's
Yeah.
the conflict is brought into play early. This guy proves to be more dangerous than you should have thought. This idea of having these classes or shuttling people through these classes is the entity's way of recruiting like some of the more ambitious people here. So when he originally was like canceled from this class that he picked, he's actually shuttled into this class that a lot of other people are shuttled into, but it's a way to trap these people of the town and kind of recruit like the most brilliant minds, right? So if I think back before when he was followed home, it was kind of after realizing that he's like was picked for this class that has like some of the the top people in his high school that maybe just had chose to do this after graduation or going forward. It seems like they're really like taking like some of the top talent, but as he's in this class, he finds that getting to know these people, like weird things are happening to them. He might have witnessed something similar to what you saw, but thought maybe it was a dream. Didn't know what he was seeing, but that the teacher of the class is been doing these meetings with them one on one. So one of them is able to kind of escape this ritual.
Sure.
And reports to Jerry that their teacher is a fucking maniac. But he reports to Jerry in a way that he's partially, let's say this friend or classmate, let's call her Cheryl, and maybe one of the most brilliant people in the class, like reports to Jerry in a way that she's kind of been halfway like stripped of her. She's kind of going in and out of it, half talking like herself and being like, what I saw versus like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. So it gets mumbled up. And then there's some aspects of like what you had laid out, like in terms of like, there's these legs everywhere. And then Jerry's like legs, like you mean legs on him? And she's almost like angry at him. And there's almost some danger that's there too. There's a part of her that almost attacks Jerry because he's getting close to like what the truth is. And then I think even with that, this is over the top, but I think that
over the top is good. Over the top is good. Go for it.
She has this conflict, this internal conflict. They're in the doll shop. And then she stops and she picks up one of the dolls and looks at it and has like this look of horror. And then she runs out into the street and is hit by a car.
That's great. Really good. Really, really good. Really fantastic. Hit by a car. And is it too much? And if it is, tell me to walk it back. Is it too much that does the car keep going, or does it like spiral into a foam pole? Because I think
the car hits her. The guy, the driver, gets out. It's an older driver. So older, the implication is that has kind of lived through this before.
Yeah.
Maybe has like some identifiable scar that maybe will come into play later. Like goes up to her, like kneels down, looks at her, looks at Jerry. Maybe like not, and then maybe not, just looks at Jerry and then kind of gets back in the car and drives off.
There's a moment when, as that's happening, you see like you can see in the passenger side of the car. You can see him in the passenger seat of the car. You can see in the passenger seat of the car like a pristine black briefcase. Like you see the briefcase in the car, like it's there, and there's that sense of like, wait, it like, okay, fuck yeah, this is good, great. Read me the 4 of diamonds.
Okay, 4 of diamonds. Let me see. Okay, cool. You experience an event that is almost exactly like the one that the other player has experienced during the game. What are the specifics? Why is this so strange or important?
I finally have a heart-to-heart with Clarissa, right? Like I finally have a heart-to-heart where my friend like we're having this moment. She's telling me the story. She had this experience where I don't think it was the coach. I don't think it was the field hockey coach. I did say that was her mentor, but I don't think it was that. I think it was the viewer, we the reader, you and I see the same person that just hit Cheryl on the car with a car walk into the school, and I'm trying to decide if they're older or the same age. I'll leave that to you, whichever one you feel like is better, but I think there is a sense of we see the same person walk into the school, and they are the person behind the wheel of the car comes to the school, and they are a talent scout. Like they are interviewing for a field hockey scholarship at the town nearby. So like it's not a massive out of state thing. It's the city that's an hour and a half away. And like Clarissa gets called into a meeting and like runs out. There's a moment where Tyler sees a single worm on her face, and like recognizes it and grabs it and throws it to the ground and smashes it. And it's that same. I think is listening to all of this and isn't actually looking at Clarissa, but is flipping to the page in the journal where you filled that, like is flipping to the exact same page in the journal and reading like almost verbatim all of the same things. And there is like a half remembered piece of writing on one of the pages that is a license plate, and the license plate is the same. And there's a sense of like, hey, and I start running after the car, and it just drives off down the street.
So it hits Clarissa? It doesn't have to. I was just wondering.
I don't know if it does. I don't think it does.
Okay.
But I think there is the sense of like, it's the same, like half of her memories got absorbed. She had the same attack that happened to Cheryl before she got hit by the car. And then we saw the same car, and the same car drove off. And there's a clear sense of like all of it lining up so perfectly with the story that you told. Terrifying. Like it is that sense. This is the moment that I've realized that the journal is directly that we are having the same experience and not just evoking the same experience.
And maybe he even, he recognizes it and he stops Clarissa from running out there.
Oh, that's fucking great. That hits. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a sense of like Clarissa, like I think like the journal almost pushes Clarissa into running into the street because we both see the license plate and she starts running and I have to like grab her and pull her back before the car like runs her down.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, thinking about some of the parallels and going back, I'm thinking some of the stuff we've put together. The entity is this outsider who's coming into the town that purports to be able to like take things to the next level. So let's say like in the 90s, it's like, yeah, I'm going to build like this academic center here or what have you. I'm going to take the greatest minds here or what have you. And we're known for sports, but we can also be like, we have athletes that also are brilliant minds, right? And we're going to do that here. And even the friend, I think Cheryl, that dies by the car is a parallel. Maybe it's been Jerry's, childhood friend, always look up to her for how smart she was. Maybe she follows this, it even comes back from, her Ivy League or whatever she was going to because she hears something is happening here in the town. And so that could be like a parallel there. These are good friends that they see, like with all this talent. And that can also be maybe like the weakness on your side is that he helped her survive, right? Like there's this idea of like if somebody's only half turned, they might be the key. So I'm thinking that, I'm thinking this same age, there's this, entity that seems like it comes from the city, but comes from outside, but probably is like living dormant there. And, with this of like, give me your best talent and I will make things great, but does it in different ways. In the 90s, it's like this kind of academic program. In the 2020s, it's like, this talent scout, like let's put, the city back on the map. And drives maybe like even the same old, car, even through the years. Like in the 90s, it's like those old vintage cars. I don't know, pick something from the 20s. And then, even in 2020, like I still see some of those cars going around, but kept up. It's almost like, not an oddity. It's just, oh yeah, he likes vintage cars.
I like that. I like that so much. That's great. And I mean, it ties in perfectly to the second ace, which I'll throw to you. We've learned something major about the Terror. I think that you've hit it on the head that it is, for lack of a better way to put it, like an ambition vampire almost. It's this thing of like, I'm going to draw forth the thing that you want, and I'm going to take it from you. It is that hunger for, and what is in higher supply in a small town than that dreamer desired to get out of the small town.
Yeah.
Like it is taken. And I think it is broader than that almost of, you hitting it on the head of like, it is offering you something. Like I think those offerings, because that's really, really juicy. They are. Tell me what you think of this. They are like chum in the water of a fisherman. Like they're a fisherman throwing out worms, right? That is I am offering things so that someone expresses a dream or an ambition or a desire so that I can take that desire from them, or I can take that thing from them that makes them like that makes them envision a future.
Yeah.
So that they stop envisioning a future.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of because that also kind of brings in the referee, right? If Dad's friend Ralph like loved reffing and like maybe he didn't even want to necessarily leave town, but he was like, this is a thing, this is where I belong, like this is my favorite thing, and was like, cool. Then you've got a desire. Your desire is to ref high school football games for the rest of your days. Not anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and then. as this kind of ambition vampire, knowing that they're coming back like every 30 years, has to plant the seed, or kind of plant the crop to harvest in 30 years. So it's like, growing up of like, I know my parent grew up and wanted to be, I don't know, like an astronaut or a writer or what have you, but then ended up, just stuck in this town. I'm not going to be that way. So then it's kind of it's imbuing kind of this sense of like what your character wants to be the first to do something, and some of it could be like, I want to be the first in this town to actually like do this or that, because growing up the whole life of hearing like people have like these ambitions but feeling like that they're just stuck in this town. So I think that can be this aspect, and then you have this next generation as they're kind of ambitious and they have it, and then it's like, okay, now it's ripe for the taking, but I'm also going to leave them as a shell of themselves, to the kids that they have like are going to grow up not wanting to be like them.
That's so, and like to that end, like I think there's also a sense of like, there's that sense of like, there's the old Carl Sagan quote of like, to make the perfect apple pie, first you must create the universe. Like there's this sense of, I love the idea that like this entity feeds periodically and has to feed every 30 years or whatever it is, but in the preceding time is still exerting an influence. I think that like as our characters, and we're free. I think this is sort of us just kind of free forming. I think this is for time purposes, just kind of like visualizing the structure of things and leaving the confrontation TBC. But that feeling of like maybe there's the two of us in each of our journal entries like going through records of the last 30 years, or the 30 years before, the 70s to the 90s and the 90s to the 2020s, of like piecing together all of the ways that the town was engineered, kind of the cultural influences that were enacted upon the town to make people want specific things. Because if you can know what a person wants, then you can very easily offer it. It's easier to offer someone something that you're pretty sure that they already want. So the town is this sort of elaborate fly trap of, how do I get people to want a thing, so that if I offer a thing and I don't have to like research my prey and try to get to know what they really want, because I've created a place where the odds that you want the thing that I'm going to offer are fairly high.
Yeah. And then there can be, because I know we said in the beginning that there's, this kind of goes against it. Like one of the things that might be consistent is being sports, but maybe there's, periods.
Yeah.
Where it's like maybe in the 90s it was maybe they were known for doing these, being this highly achieving high school that was like winning all these debates and what have you. And it's like, we have all these like, child geniuses here or what have you. And then that gets stripped away, right? And it falls off the map. And then it's kind of like through the years, it's becoming the center for like women's sports. And now it's starting to be able to get to a point where we can apply for these next divisions. And then, that's why the scouts are coming or what have you. Then that's stripped off. But, maybe like, maybe it was supposed to be somewhere for a hub for, space exploration or something like that. Or maybe even like during like going into war times, like we have great, physical people, specimens here, or what have you, that whatever it may be, like through the years.
Where my brain immediately goes for that is, there's this the energy. I mentioned like a fisherman throwing chum and throwing worms, but like the idea of so much of this ties back into like visualizing a hunt or like fishing in a way that genuinely makes my skin crawl in the best possible way of like, you don't fish in the same spot too often. You don't hunt the same spot too often, or you're going to hunt it barren. If this town is a hunting ground for ambition, it can't be a sports town forever.
Yeah.
It can't be a football town forever.
Yeah.
Because people will stop that trap will stop yielding fruit. So like there is this sense of like, maybe it is, and maybe that is it. Maybe that is why the terror has to wait and has to like culturally influence and has to like shape the town in its image. Is it feeds on a specific desire until it feels like that desire is out of reach, and then it's got to find a new thing to prey on, and it feeds and it feeds and it feeds until it's full, and then it disappears, and then whoever's around that briefcase starts to like make decisions and change the town's identity. And then when the town has been consumed by a flame, like by a singular flame, then it reemerges and it eats again.
Yeah. I was thinking in terms of there has to be, and thinking about this, if this was a story, right? There's two ways it can go in terms of the main characters. Either they have the same exact fate, or this character in your timeline like changes the cycle. And I do wonder if through these every 30 years, there's one person who gets out.
Yeah.
And it could be the main character, and maybe that's part of like what is like the town's like, we do have this one person who went to do great things, right? And there are these like every 30 years there's somebody who's like, oh, this person went and did this and this person did this. And that could be part of the entity not sucking it completely dry, giving something to hope for. But I do wonder, let's say if that's my character that does that, and it seems like from his perspective, he's beat it and he's been able to escape. But maybe from your perspective, you realize that part of what you must do to stop the cycle is maybe like sacrifice yourself in some way or stay there in the city. Maybe it's like the entity almost feeds off this human nature of like, if you can, you would leave all this behind. Like you're ambitious, right? Like, I've sucked it all dry, but like, I'm, you can go and be great. And maybe like your character is deciding to not give that entity, maybe it's this part it needs not to give it there, but then is committing to a life of giving up his dreams. I
think that's so good because like that's where the two journals really diverge, right? Is like we see your character, we see the past like person, like they get out and we have the final confrontation, and like we see them like realize like, if I'm going to survive, like I have to get out. It is the one perspective that is, I have beaten this by way of like not giving up my ambition, and then undercutting that in the present by going, no, that was the plan. It is specifically like this character's fate, and it is some ways, their worst possible outcome, and in some ways it is the only way to like break the cycle is for them to say, I can't leave. I can't do the thing that I want to do, because if I stay here and I confront this thing head on, then it actually like has a chance of dying out. And there's this, that's so good. I think that is the cliffhanger that we leave it on. I think this was so good. I am screaming.
No, this is great. And then how it comes together. It's just honestly like a great premise. Like even before this, I was thinking that would make a great horror story itself. Just the idea of this game where people are exchanging journal entries.
This is so good.
And then what horror can come from that? But yeah, this was great. Like, and then especially I think feeling it. I don't want to say evolve, like feeling it leave the parameters of the game at the end and seeing like what came from that. That was great.
There's such a that was such an incredible moment. I think that is my favorite moment. Was like we're in it, we're flipping cards, we're having our journal entries, and then this moment at the end of us like both realizing like I see it. I see us both seeing the Matrix in that moment. Like that was magic. That's the magic of play, and that's what I am constantly chasing after. And I'm so grateful that we got to have this this experience together. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah. Thank you.
What was your favorite moment from play?
Well, I think that it was, to be honest, it was that just in terms of where, because I love the game and I love the format. I think that part of my thoughts in terms of thinking about next was almost, oh, am I getting ahead of myself? Am I, am I going too far? Am I like answering something that's supposed to be, that's going to conflict with what the next question is? And I think it's actually set up well where it doesn't actually do that. It's free. It can be free flowing in that sense, but I think being able to kind of leave that and be like, oh, okay, I think we have the form. We know we know the two characters, we know the entity, okay, how does it all come together in terms of linking?
I think it was really, really satisfying to experience. Yeah. I am absolutely over the moon. This was incredible. Thank you so much for sitting down and playing this game with me. This was an absolute joy.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This was great. I've been doing a few podcasts with this. I was most nervous about this, just in terms of like, all right, I actually, I told somebody, I was like, oh, it feels like an interview as a writer. It's like, okay, I got to show up and storytell. I want to make sure I do it right. But this was great. Like once we got into it, and you've made it easy. This was really a great experience.
I'm so happy to hear all of that. And yeah, this. I could not have been happier with this entire thing. Before I wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Yeah, so JustinCKey.com. There's no S in key, so just singular key. That has all of my work. And then, my 2 books, The Hospital at the End of the World, or The World Wasn't Ready for You, wherever you like to get your books. Always plug bookshop.org is a great place. And I'm on pretty much all of the socials, Justin C. Key or Justin Key on Blue Sky. And I think formerly known as Twitter, it's Justin Key _MD. Yep, that's where you can find me.
Hell yeah, this was incredible. I am over the moon at this experience. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Justin for coming on to the show. That game was incredible. I was so blown away by the storytelling experience that we shared. Something really, really magical. It was, and like the thing that was really special was, Justin kind of said it, but like, when we reached a point where we were going back and forth and we were playing the game and we both sat down with this moment of like, I see the story and I see everything unfolding in front of me, like in an instant, was just such a thrilling moment that like, that's why I play games. Be sure to head to JustinCKey.com to check out The Hospital at the End of the World, as well as Justin's other work. And be sure to head to adambuffoni.itch.io to pick up your own copy of Tether. If you enjoyed this episode, one thing that you can do to support the growth of the show is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and name drop a creator that you'd love to hear on the show. Here's the 2 reasons why this is particularly helpful. When I'm pitching a guest, Apple reviews are very helpful in terms of providing a snapshot of audience interest, engagement, show size. They're a really useful tool in my back pocket when I'm going to guests who are outside of the tabletop game space. And if I can point to a review and say, hey, our listeners would love to hear you on the show, they're shouting it out in the Apple reviews, great. Makes it even easier. That's a concrete thing that you can do right now to support the show. Party of One is produced and edited, as always, by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising on the show, guesting on the show, sending me a baked goods recipe, which people have done, and it makes me extraordinarily happy, you can do so at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And, unless I'm mistaken, that's all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.